Hello. We are back in the kitchen, and I'm going to be doing a marinara sauce for you guys, trying to work it so that we're getting the hands down here and the action where it's going on. So the marinara sauce, of course, starts with beautiful fresh garlic. I'm going to use a nice sharp knife to cut that up, and of course, under my cutting board, a wet paper towel so that it doesn't move around quite so much. You can, if you're really a garlic lover and you want to have pieces of garlic as you are, eating the marinara sauce, you could certainly just slice it and have nice big slices. But I think we're going to want our garlic to disappear in the sauce. So we're going to smash it down. And again, keeping my knife where the handle is really hanging off the cutting board just a little bit so I can flatten it out. I just smash the garlic down, and it's going to be much, much easier to cut this way. I also have behind me a nice stainless steel pot. You really want to try to avoid cooking tomato products in aluminum because aluminum is a reactive metal, and when you cook tomato sauces in it, anything acidy, you're actually drawing some of the aluminum right off of the pot, and it's going into your food. If you ever noticed, if you covered something like a lasagna or something with tomato sauce with aluminum foil, you'll notice that the foil actually degrades. It actually kind of gets eaten up and ends up right in the sauce. So you really do want to avoid using any aluminum pots. Try to use stainless steel or cast iron if possible. So there's our garlic. I'm going to take our pot, and our nice stainless steel pot, and it's a little bit wet, so I'm going to use my clean towel to take the water out of the bottom so it doesn't splatter on me. And I'm going to add the olive oil. A nice coating on the bottom is fine, and add the garlic. Okay, so put that on a high flame on the stove, nice and high, and then I'm going to use these tomatoes while that's browning up. So the tomatoes that I have are a San Marzano. We jarred these back in September of last year, and these are San Marzanos from our garden. Fortunately, we have these now. And then we also have some whole peeled tomatoes. These are also San Marzanos, and they're canned tomatoes. Either way, it's nice that we happen to have some from the garden, but these are really good tomatoes, the canned San Marzanos. And you can also get, these have to be organic, but you can get things like Tuderoso or Nina is also a really good brand if you're looking for them in the stores. But you like the whole plums, and I'll show you why. The whole tomatoes are nice because they're really meaty. Okay, so I'm just starting to stir this up. I'll show you, it's just starting to sizzle a little bit in there. But what we want this to come out to is a really nice kind of a cocoa brown, kind of like, I think you might remember I've told you when we make these marinara sauces, you want to make it so it's kind of like brown like coffee with milk. Okay? So in the bowl, I'm going to drop these tomatoes, and I'll tell you why. I'm also going to rinse this pan out with a little bit of extra water so I get all that tomato goodness in there. And then I'm going to open this one. And these sealed jars can be tough to open sometimes. Nice. And you can see it's sealed with nice basil right on top of it. Give it a nice smell. It smells like beautiful basil from when it was packaged. It was also basil from the garden. So I'm going to add this with our mixture. And my garlic is starting to get brown, so I got to keep an eye on that. I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. And you can just see it's just starting to get brown on the tips. Okay, you can see it's just starting to brown up, and it's kind of getting to that cocoa color that I'm talking about, kind of like coffee with milk. So stirring it up, and I think I'm just about where I want to be. So I'm going to leave it off the flame for just a minute, and I'm just going to go back to these tomatoes. Now, these are whole tomatoes, and what I want to do is I'm going to hand crush them. And what that does is they kind of gets them started. I want to be careful not to splatter my webcam over here. But I kind of tear them apart, and I hand crush them. It lets me go through these tomatoes that we've jarred. If if I happen to see any imperfections or maybe some of the stems still left. Whoa, I just got myself on that one. Any of the stem left, I can pull it out. But I'm going to leave everything in there that it came with. The basil, both of them had fresh basil. But I'm just kind of squeezing. You can hear it squeezing it, getting the tomato juice out of it. And there's some seeds left in here. Most of those were seeded. The ones that I jarred were mostly seeded, but the ones that we purchased were actually not seeded. So there's some seeds in there, but it's not bad. These are really the best tomatoes for sauces. San Marzanos are super meaty and make excellent sauce. Okay, so see, I'm just kind of hand crushing them. I'm not, beating them up. I'm just crushing them by hand. And I'm going back to, the garlic is in, the garlic and oil is in there. I'm going to return that to the heat. And I want to hear it sizzle one more time before I add these tomatoes, okay? So you can see, these are big pieces, but as it cooks down, these will fall apart. They will sweeten and caramelize just a little bit. And it will really just have a great flavor for a sauce. If you don't like chunky tomatoes, this is not the sauce for you. You want to use like you may buy crushed tomatoes or buy a puree or something, but this is a very meaty sauce, okay? So I can hear my garlic is still sizzling over here. And I add those tomatoes and all that sauce. And then from the can, I reserve that little bit of water that's in there, okay? And I put that right on top. And I'm going to stir this about every 15 minutes. If I don't stir it, it will stick to the bottom, and I will be very unhappy because I will have burned my sauce, and it won't have the flavor I want. Now, in addition to the basil that's in it already, after cooking for about an hour and reducing just a little bit, in other words, some of this water will evaporate off of it, and the flavors will concentrate in it, I'm going to add some salt, some pepper, and sweet basil. I'll cook it for about another 20 minutes, and then you're done. Now, that sauce is going to be ready for pizza. It will be great for on top of spaghetti, maybe with meatballs, or you could make a red clam sauce with it. So it's pretty much anything you want. It's your basic marinara sauce. Start with the brown garlic, add the tomatoes, and salt, pepper, and sweet basil, and you've got it. And that is it for now.